call to order the Board of Education Board Foundation Subcommittee meeting for the Palm Springs Unified School District. It's July 15th, 2021 at 2 p.m. and we are being live streamed. I'd like to again call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call, please.
Member Cornett,
Here.
Girardi,
Here.
Gauthier, absent, Bush,
Here.
Goodman,
Here.
and Sweezy.
Here.
Okay, have we received any public comments by email or telephonic comments?
We have not received any public comments.
Okay, moving on to the approval of the agenda. May I have a motion for approval? Okay, Ellen has made the motion. May I have a second? John is seconding it, and all of those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. We're down to number 4, which is approval of the Board Foundation Subcommittee meeting minutes of June 10th, 2021. I hope everyone has had a chance to read them. And if there's any corrections, to make them known. So could I have a motion for approval?
Move.
John has made the motion for approval. May I have a second? Kathy has made a second. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Is there any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we're down to well, it says the setting of the next board meeting will be determined. And I'm not sure if we're ready to do that just now. So do we have any comments about that, number 5?
So
Ellen,
I was just going to say, we did attach, I believe, the proposed meeting dates to stay on the third Thursday of the month at 2 o'clock.
Okay, third Thursday at 2 o'clock every month. Okay, do we need to, I guess we need to approve that? Has everybody had a chance to think about that, look at it, and see if that is something that everybody wants to do? Okay, may I have an emotion to approve?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Kathy seconds. Is there any discussion? Ellen?
Karen, I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention that there were 2 dates that would be moved due to school board retreat.
Okay,
And so I just wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to note that on their calendars.
okay. And maybe that schedule could be sent out to everyone again. Thank you. Okay,
I'll be setting out the schedule as well as the calendar invites for everybody right after this meeting.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was just going to ask.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the foundation subcommittee meeting dates?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. We go down to number 6, the setting of the next foundation subcommittee board meeting, which we've decided is, if you want to give me that date again.
Let's see.
Yes.
Erica, I don't have the document in front of me.
It will be the 16th,
August 16th at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, yes.
Okay, that's an information meeting, a comment. And number 6, do we have any member comments?
I just want to thank Ellen for the well-done presentation you did at our board meeting.
Yes, it was great. Thank you so much. It was very informative.
Yeah.
Very. Dr. Sweezy?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I agree. That was an excellent presentation. I just wanted to make a comment. In reviewing the minutes, I was reminded that member Girardi suggested that the presentation be a study session. And I think that was a great decision, because originally that presentation was not going to be a study session. It was just going to be a presentation in the board meeting. And now it seems like it makes perfect sense. Of course, it would be a study session, but that I appreciate that, John. That was a great suggestion because I think it let everyone really focus on the presentation and have a little bit more time for questions and comments. So I appreciated that suggestion.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Excellent.
Every once in a while, I'll surprise you.
And, on the heels of that, if I may add, traditionally, we have met twice a year as a combined group as a study session where the two boards come together. And so it really felt like that, John, that suggestion just, kind of followed the consistency of those meetings. And so I hope that moving forward, as we can come back together in person, that we continue on that twice a year study session where we all come together.
I would certainly support that.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's a great suggestion, Ellen, that we get back to that once we're meeting in person. That's great. Any other comments by members? Okay, let's move down to number, what should be number 7, which is information discussion and the foundation update. And Ellen, do you want to start off with that, or Dr. Sweezy?
Really quick before we move forward, I just wanted to make a quick correction. The next meeting is August 19th, not the 16th.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I thank you, Karen. Thank you, Erica, for the clarification. I'll just really serve as an introduction to Ellen. Dr. Kovac, Ms. Goodman and I met after the meeting and really debriefed. And in that conversation, we discussed the idea about the use of the word budget and budgeting and clarification there. And so I believe that today Ellen was going to just revisit that topic briefly, I believe is the plan, to talk again about the foundation and how that budgeting is different than maybe other kinds of budgeting.
Yeah.
That's great, thanks. And then I'll also do an update. Let me start first with an update, and then we'll talk about the budgeting. Is that okay? Would that be a good way to roll? Okay. So after we met and we had our study session and we basically got our green light to move forward, we immediately started to meet with our local philanthropists who were still in the desert. And so we took our largest initiatives, sat and had conversations and submitted what I call community proposals. And the community proposals are really narratives. And they're not formal RFPs that might look more like a Title I or a Title IV request for funding. So it's a bit more casual. And we submitted one to the Alwyn Foundation for our SMART program, and we received very positive feedback, and we were awarded $30,000 to continue the program. So that is, yes, thank you. More good news, we sat with the Western Wind Foundation, and we actually went over the entire year with our initiatives, not just one particular program, since Western Wind has funded a number of different things. And Western Wind pledged $65,000 to support robotics, wellness center, and there were an essay contest that Barbara Boxer and Terry Kedover have come to us with as a proposal. And Western Wind would be funding that. So more on that, but the whole pledge for his year will be $65,000. So that brought us up to $95,000. And then Mr. Fogelson, with his scholarship awards, transferred $25,000 into our account a couple of days ago. And so we're at $120,000 for our 21-22 year. So the year's off to a pretty good start. We're very excited about that. With that, the work, like as far as boots on the ground, has really been the wellness centers. And our goal is to get 3 wellness centers open by the start of school. And those centers are Nellie Kaufman Middle School, Desert Sands Middle School, and Desert Hot Springs High School. And we've been working with them for the last 2 months. And what we are, they're what I'm calling early adapters. Schools that are super motivated, they've already put the components into place, theory wise, they really just needed to establish the rooms. So we've been working with them on that, and we have the schematics, and the goal for the schematic drawings are so that we can, one, show funders, two, we can show other schools that have an interest in establishing their wellness centers in this school year or the next school year. And in that is a design proposal. So it's about 7 pages of a PowerPoint or a PDF, and it has all of the color themes and all of the products. So at Nellie Kaufman Middle School, for example, they're going to create a Zen garden, which is a small area that's been designated off of their wellness center. And so in that garden, there's some materials that need to be purchased. Inside of their center, there is district appropriate and approved furniture that will be purchased, and then some other interesting things. And if you'd like to see one of those proposals, one of the schematics, I have that available and can share that with you on the screen. So that's where we've really spent the last month, is in the fundraising and in the wellness center production area. And it's been going really well. Any questions or any thoughts?
Unless there's some reason why we shouldn't, but I might consider putting something in our Friday update regarding what the foundation has been doing so far.
I think that's a great idea,
Yeah,
if possible.
definitely. Yeah. Thank you, John.
Well, I think it might work. Once a month, I do a report for the board, for the foundation board, and then we can just send that to Erica and Simone and Mike, and then you can, decide, to include that. It is written to the foundation board, and if that would be okay, we can just share the same document, or we can fine tune it for that might be more geared towards the school board. I don't know what the difference would be, but because we're pretty transparent, we put it all in there. Would that be okay if it was once a month?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yes.
Okay. And that would come out for us. Our foundation board meetings are the last Thursday of the month, and that's when they get it a few days before that. So it would always be the last Friday of the month that it would go in the packet.
Okay. Yep. We'll expect that then.
Okay, great. Thanks. Great idea. Okay, so then moving on, the second thing was the budget conversation. And one of the things I just wanted to expand on, because I don't know if I was able to, be as clear, and that were the different kinds of budgets, that are out there just in the world of nonprofits. And the budget styling that the foundation uses is what I'm going to call program budget. So when we sent the Alwyn Foundation a request for funding, what they're expecting the budget for the program. They're not looking for the overall organizational operations budget. They're really looking for program, because that's what we're asking for. When an organization asks for operational support, well, then they would show the operational budget that they're asking the funder to support. But for example, wellness centers, when we're submitting a proposal for wellness centers, we're not asking for operational support. We're asking for support of the wellness centers. So we send a full budget for the wellness center, not the organizational's operational budget, which is what we presented at the study session. So they're two very distinct, they're very different documents. And John, a couple of years ago, I remember in a joint study session, we did have a budget conversation, and we did talk about an internal document, which was our operational budgeting document. And you had made those suggestions, which were really quite good. When we do send an overview of the entire scope of the organization, of the foundation's budget, we send 990s. So when we make a request for funding, we attach the program budget, and then we attach our 990s and our audit. So every funder gets to see in full transparency exactly what the organization does. It's just not submitted as what one might call an operational budget. And I'll share with you what the program budget looks like that our funders get. Now, when we do government fundraising. This is local, smaller numbers. When we do a government budget or we're doing a much larger nationwide foundation request for funding, where it has a different level of competitiveness, the budget would look more robust. But this is a local request, and this is what we're showing. So this particular budget was submitted to Bighorn Cares, and we asked Bighorn Cares for $25,000 to underwrite one center. And what we did was we presented a program budget which includes 4 centers for the 21-22 school year. And we broke it down where we have here, it's $25,000 a wellness center, so it's $100,000. We know that 25,000 Western Wind is confirmed, and then this is where we have submitted our requests for funding to date. The $400,000 is the district support, and then we break down where the 400,000 lives, and it really does live in personnel cost. And this is personnel at the campuses. And we said the mental and behavioral health practitioners, but it really is everyone who's involved in those wellness centers. And that could be an admin, it could be the principal, it could be a staff person who's doing the scheduling. And so we take percentages of what their salaries and benefits are, and we divide it up and allocate that amount per wellness center. And then we go into non-personnel costs, and this is what we're asking for money for, is the non-personnel cost. And that non-personnel cost is training and development per campus. So some campuses want all of their staff trained through an orientation, not trained for certificated, but through an orientation. And some of the campuses have very specific staff that they want trained going through a training product that they are purchasing from an outside vendor. And the wellness center equipment, furniture, the lighting, the wall coverings, the Zen garden, all the different types of touchy-feely things are at about 15,000 per school, or 60,000 for the 4 schools. So you can see this project alone is a $500,000 project. And there's operational support that is, and donors and foundations, they love this to see, wow, the school district really has skin in the game. The school district is paying the staff and the salaries, and the funder is paying for the establishment of the wellness center. So we hope that this would be able to show you how we divide those out and parse those out so people can really see that. And like I said, we do include 990s, audits, and overall foundation numbers in a separate document. And I'll pause there and see if there's any comments or questions.
I think it makes a lot of sense the way the budget is written. I think for a funder, like your local agencies that fund different projects, I think it makes a lot of sense. Just having worked with the Allen Foundation, that's exactly what they wanted. They didn't want to see a great big school budget. They wanted to know what the budget was for the project and what actually the school district was contributing. So I think to me, it looks very understandable. So thanks for explaining it.
I agree with Karen. It's straightforward, right to the point, gives you all the pertinent information that you need. Not a lot of fluff, and I agree with you 100%, Ellen. When these funders, when these donors see that the school district is committed to the extent, like for this project, of $400,000, they know we're serious about it.
Mm-hmm. And we've gotten some extremely good feedback. And I'll show you one more thing. And I'm going to share just as a preamble. This was one of the hardest things that I've done, I must tell you. And that was asking for $1 million via email. It was very difficult. And that is the world of COVID, where you just can't always get in front of people. And the document that you saw, and again, the audits and so forth, get shared. And I'm as attachments. Let me see if I can pull this up. I'm assuming that you're going to be able to see this email. Can everybody see that? And so you'll just see, and just kind of keeping some confidentiality here, but you'll see that, and we talked about this in the study session around really sharing a multi-year, right? So we're moving forward with a multi-year initiative. And so we're not going to talk to people about what our 21-22 budget is. We're going to talk to people about what the multi-year aspiration is for the project. And so this particular, the wellness centers is a big number. It's a 1.5 million number as a multi-year. And that's what we talk about in this email. And so we talk about how much we've raised, you know, what we're able to do. We talk about in this email that the community is committed to doing the $675,000 to get these opened and established. And what we're asking here is for someone to create an endowment so that these wellness centers live in perpetuity. And I also want to share that we have to take into consideration that over time, there is going to be wear and tear. And over time, you know, staff are going to need the continued orientation and training to be able to support that wellness center. So, you know, if we raise $25,000 for a wellness center, it just doesn't stop there. There are ongoing costs over a period of time. And so we talk about an investment strategy and how a donor and builds the sustainability, pretty much what I just said, which I didn't get the chance to do in person. I had to do it in email over a period of time. And it's at $1 million, that's the number. And in previous emails, the person has mentioned their interest in financial support. And then I just make the ask, would you consider contributing $1 million? And, you know, if I'm sitting with somebody, we'll take a pause and we'll let, you know, that person noodle, you know, on that request, because that is a straight ask. So I said, I know that you'll give this some thought and please send questions. And then I asked them not to shoot me for being so bold. And then I told them that I'd be more than happy to fly to wherever they are to discuss further. So, you know, the work is happening, whether it's in person or whether it's on email. But I'm showing you that because one, that's we're definitely in the field doing the work. But two, we are talking about a much larger vision than just our 21-22 budget. So that was just something to share. And the person does take time, because I've had a number of email exchanges during COVID, and the person does take time responding, a lot of time. So we're sitting and waiting patiently. And if for some reason September rolls around and I've missed my opportunity to fly to New England and have a lobster roll, that's my opportunity to write and say, where's my lobster roll? So have some fun with it. And Mike, I'm gonna turn to you and ask if there's anything else that we might have spoken about, or Simone, that I might have left out or be forgetting.
Just two quick items to share, not that you left them out, but one, what I really appreciate about that last example, Ellen, is I think the document that the foundation and foundation board had prepared for the study session talked about how there were different entry points for donors to participate in each of these large district initiatives. And so I just think that's a great example of how you're doing work to get $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 donations, as well as $500 donations, but also doing work to get $250, $500, $1 million opportunities as well. So I think that's a good example of really both. And we know that you're working hard to really find donor entry points all over on those really critical district initiatives. Then just the other thing to share, because I think what we've discovered over this last 6 months or so is that the district and the foundation, including the district board and the foundation board and this body, we're really starting to work together well, in my opinion, starting to hit our stride. So I just want to share part of a meeting that we had, Simone and I had with Ellen. And Ellen was talking about the plans for those wellness centers at some of those specific sites that she mentioned earlier. And we were then able to talk with her about other district staff that we should all be collaborating with to ensure that once the funding is available, then we have a smooth pathway to implementation and construction and bringing items into the school. And if we didn't have that good connection, again, the foundation could be raising money and it could be difficult to get that money immediately applied at the school. So I just wanted to share that, Ellen, if that's okay, as an example. We looked at some plans. We talked about some specific proposals at sites and whether or not those proposals would present any challenges around construction or maintenance and operations or purchasing, so that the school can get what they really need and believe is best for students. The foundation can get the funding, and then we can make sure that we get all of that connected as quickly as possible so that it gets to the kids right away, so that we don't have to wait 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months for something to take place at a school site. And I really appreciate Ellen bringing that, and she brought it to Simone and I, and then we were able to really look at it and talk about how we can lay that path so that we can move quickly as a district.
And I think Kathy Bush probably really appreciates that, because I know very early on that was not a seamless pathway, or there wasn't a really thought process around that. So thanks for that, Mike. I would like just to add the email I just showed you when Mike talked about point of entry. That email went to an individual who started as a $5,000 donor and then became a $25,000 donor. And so that's a great example of, moving someone up through that process. John, you look happy.
I find it curious that you found it difficult to ask for $1 million through an email. Because if I was sitting in front of somebody, I don't think I could formulate the words to ask them for $1 million.
That's why you have me.
Yeah, that's quite an ask, but some people have $1 million to give away, thank goodness, to good causes.
That's right.
Which is always great. So are there any other comments about foundation update? Any other things that people want to bring up? Kathy, you're muted.
You're on mute, Kathy. Oh, sorry.
I had unmuted, but I'm not. I just wanted to apologize for my telephone call earlier and to say that I really appreciated Ellen showing us that letter, because that was at the study session. That was something that was hard to quantify, if you will. So you can see there's always different pathways that are going over the timetable over which we have no control in the foundation. I mean, that donor could get back to us immediately or in 6 months, for the $1 million. And so, but there's always those things that are bubbling up. And that's why that's important to make those distinctions about the budget, because, we don't know when the fruit will drop off the tree, literally. And so it's very complicated to be sitting there having your hands ready to catch it and to be ready to pick it, and everything else, and then to put it into an actual quantity on a piece of paper that says by X date, we will have that. But there's always, that entry point, as Mike eloquently said, of things coming in that are always, working and different opportunities, and the networking that takes place to, bring those, opportunities to light. So I just wanted to thank Ellen for sharing that, because it really gives insight into the process.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks,
Kathy.
Kathy. Karen, can I comment on the heels of that?
Absolutely.
One of the things I'll just share, and it just came up, and it's not something that I really thought of. And I mean, I really have been thinking we're coming out of COVID, obviously the market has been strong and people are really starting to look at their community versus the safety net of COVID that took a lot of attention this last year. So I felt ambitious that there would be a lot more money available in our community. And I had a conversation with someone who repeated a story to me. And the conversation I had, this person was going to ask for a contribution from one of our local philanthropists. And the philanthropist said, before you ask me, I just want you to know I lost $36 million during COVID. You know, I was staggered when I heard that. And the person said, where this person's business, and they're still in business and they have an enterprise and they make a lot of money and give a lot of money away, but that business was shut down during COVID. And so where that person might have personal investments that have done well, their business took a $36 million loss. And so the person was not going to give at the level they're used to giving. Now, the person did make a contribution of significance, but not anywhere near the level that we're used to. So, so I think that will, and maybe things will change in 6 months, but I think that we're gonna, you know, there'll be some obstacles. We'll get around them. We'll overcome and get around them.
Any other comments? Nope. Okay, then we move on to a motion for adjournment. I have a motion to adjourn. Okay, Kathy's got a motion for adjournment, and we have a second from John. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is there anybody opposed? The motion passes. We're adjourned. Thank you all.